No one can hurt your feelings without permission. I'm sure we have all heard this from maybe a teacher or a parent or a manager, a boss, a self-help book, a guru. We've all heard this at one time or another, this idea that, no one can hurt your feelings without your permission. And this is something that I've thought about for quite a long time, because when this gets told to anyone, your first gut instinct is to say, well, no, that's not true. And then they'll usually kind of try and talk you down to that, about things like personal responsibility and how you have to take responsibility for the emotions that you have, and that it's not the person's fault, it's you allowing yourself to react in a certain way. There's a lot that goes into it, and my genuine opinion on the topic is that it is completely untrue. And in fact, it's something that might even be quite hurtful, especially to men, because we already have all these societal and cultural pressures about not expressing our emotions and dealing with them enough as it is, that's leading us to all sorts of bad outcomes. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this idea that no one can hurt your feelings. Now, let me say off the bat straight away that I'm not saying here that you should not take responsibility for the way that you respond when it comes to emotional situations. So obviously, if you get angry and you punch someone out for no reason other than the fact that they were close and you were angry, that's bad and you shouldn't do that. But at the same time, being angry in that case isn't really your fault, because we're not in control of our emotions. We are only in control of the way that we cope and deal with them. But when people are saying that no one can hurt your feelings or no one can make you feel a certain way about anything, this runs completely contrary to every single person's human experience. So I had a teacher when I was in school, and he had this picture up in his office window that just said, "No one can make you angry." And he was always out there talking to the kids in school. If someone was getting into a fight or if there was a shouting match or something, he would always be stepping in and trying to, preach his gospel of, well, no one can make you angry. So, if you're out here fighting because, somebody did something bad to you, then it's actually your fault for responding in that way, because you should be in control. Which you can imagine telling that to 14 and 15-year-olds who are just starting to get the hang of emotions and hormones that are running out of control. It wasn't something that was hugely helpful, and that probably required a little bit more nuance than, just some guy coming out and saying, "Oh, well, I know that you're angry right now, but you shouldn't be." And it's like, well, great. Now what do I do? And I don't remember a lot of teachers from my school, because I don't really go to a particularly nice school. And so I've tried to actively forget a whole lot of it, which is probably why I can't do math that well these days. But I remember being in a science class where he had taken over, because he was a history teacher, and he jumped in to cover our science class because our science teacher was sick or something. That doesn't matter, that's just context. But there was this one girl there who decided that this was the day where she was going to test his patience. And I think that she had gotten into some kind of verbal fight with another one of the girls in class, and then he had stepped in with his normal, no one can make you angry thing, and she had went off at him, and basically he snapped like a fragile twig, as you'll find that people who repress their emotions typically do. He absolutely went off on her, and I remember him yelling back at her face and physically dragging her out of the class by her hair. Now, this was obviously a very, very bad situation, and I don't know really what happened to him after that. I don't remember seeing him too much, because this was my last year in school and I was doing my GCSEs and everything, so who knows what happened to him. But I do remember that very, very specifically, and the fact that as he was doing that, there were some lads at the back of the class that were kind of taunting him, being like, oh, you know, Mr. So-and-so, no one can make you angry. And that just seemed to make him even more angry, to the point where he just completely lost control and took it out on a 16-year-old girl. Now, I'm not now going to sit down and say that, you know, it was right what happened, because literally everyone was the asshole in that situation. The girl was, the teacher was, the guys that were in the back of the class jeering, me that was just kind of quietly sitting in the corner smiling, yes, I was the asshole too. But this idea that nobody can make you feel a certain way is absolutely ludicrous, and eventually it will lead you to ending up in similar situations like my teacher did, where he completely lost his nut because someone made him angry and he didn't know how to deal with it without lashing out physically. So here's the truth. Your emotions are not within your control. When you get angry, when you're sad, when you're happy, it's not something that you are consciously doing. You'll know this because if you're sad, there is oftentimes not much you can do. You can't exactly flex the happiness muscle. You know, that's not the way that it works. And what happens in the outside world, our environment and our experiences and the people around us affect our emotions, both positively and negatively. So that's not something that we are in control of. We can only control what we do with that emotion. And a lot of us, especially us as guys, because we're taught to kind of bottle everything down or respond to emotions oftentimes with physical outbursts. Like my outlet that I was told for ages, when I got angry, I went and did kickboxing, and that didn't really help me out too much because I wasn't actually addressing the feeling. So a lot of us as guys, we don't grow up learning about how to deal with our emotions, but it is something that is of the utmost importance to learn about, because if our emotions run out of control, then bad things can happen to you or to the people in your life. Of course, someone can hurt your feelings. If a stranger walks up to you and tells you that you're ugly, yeah, that's probably going to hurt your feelings. If a family member dies, yes, you're going to feel grief about that. If you start a new relationship, you're going to be happy, and when the relationship ends, you're going to be sad about it, probably. If you go to a comedy show and watch a comedian that you like, you're going to laugh, and there's not much you can do to stop that. Like, just go and watch Try Not to Laugh challenges on YouTube, like people actually trying to do them, and most of the time, no matter how much they try, they can't stop themselves from feeling the emotion, and it expresses itself in laughter. Unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do that is going to get rid of our emotions. They are here to stay, and that's just the way that it is. But you've got to learn how to be in control of the way you respond to them. And the first thing you need to do is to learn how to accept your emotions for what they are. And that's another video that I have on the channel already that you can go and watch. But the first step to actually dealing with your emotions appropriately is to actually listen to what they're telling you. And if you are upset because of something that someone says, just telling yourself, oh, well, you know, someone can't make me upset, I'm choosing to make myself upset. How do you think that's going to help you? It just puts the blame on you, and it does not acknowledge what you're actually feeling, which is that this person said X, Y, and Z to me, and it hurt my feelings and it made me upset. And it's only through accepting the situation and the way that you feel about it that you can actually start to deal with it, whether that is going and writing it all down in a journal, or going and speaking to your counselor about it, or going and speaking to a friend about it, or confronting that person saying, listen, what you said really hurt my feelings, and I don't want you to ever say something like that to me again. I expect to be dealt with a certain level of respect, so let's not let that ever happen again, please. But if you just bury it, then no action is going to be taken, which means no change is going to occur. And that is why I believe that, of course, other people and situations and experiences can make you feel a certain way. People can hurt your feelings, but how you deal with that is up to you. You have to first accept the situation and the emotions that come along with them, and then you have to go and deal with them in the way that works best for you. And as long as you're not hurting yourself or other people, then that's absolutely fine. Just do what works for you. So I hope you have found this video useful today. Let me know your thoughts and questions in the comment section down below. If you aren't already a subscriber to the channel, make sure that you do subscribe, because I'm putting out a video every single day at this point, all about confidence and life advice for the average Joe. So if that's what you're interested in, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video. But for now, this video is over, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos here on this channel very soon.